All right, man. So apparently, Kendrick Perkins says behind the scenes that the Detroit Pistons are actively trying to pursue Anthony Davis. Now, the Dallas Mavericks was reported that they were going to um, help, send some of the guys they out trading away to destinations that they want to go to. So to make sure they do right by them. Um, let's talk about it. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The whole thing about Anthony Davis is the ability to stay healthy. I mean, that's the only thing I think most people is worried about, his ability to stay healthy. So that's the one reason why people will or won't do the trade, to be honest with you. As far as the fit is great. His ability to stretch it out, his ability to be a primary scorer, his ability to defend and play the position he wants to play, which is power forward. I mean, rebound, block shots, help across the front line, pick and roll, spacing, athleticism. I mean, it's a great fit. It's a great all around fit. Especially defensively, it makes a lot of sense. Also you could play with Stu, you could play with Duran. I mean, you could start at the 5, you could start at the 4. I mean, that's the great thing about it. But on the downside is just the nagging injuries. One thing about Tobias, until this little injury he got, you can count on him to stay healthy and she'll be available. And also another thing about it is when you start talking about, other guys like Lauri Markkanen, he's fairly been healthy his whole career. You know what I'm saying? He may not be, obviously he's more of a dynamic perimeter scorer. He could dunk and rebound. He just may not be the defender that Anthony Davis is, but as long as he's a willing defender, I don't think anybody got a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? As far as him coming there, I think most people may prefer Lauri Markkanen because of the durability thing. I think, Davis gives you a tad bit more versatility, but Markkanen give you more offensive firepower. But yeah, he right by Chicago. I think he'd love that, but I'm not, the Pistons, could just be kicking the tires and seeing what the Mavericks want to gauge that maybe with another player, or just seeing if that's something they would like to do. So, I mean, honestly, it makes a lot of sense, but you don't want to get to a critical moment and you need Anthony Davis and he can't stay healthy. I mean, he was with LeBron James and he still couldn't, get healthy. So I don't understand with him, like, what are you not doing? And some people's bodies is just, not built to take the physical grind. The NBA is a grind, especially for somebody that's that tall and all that. Remember, he grew. He was a late bloomer. He was like a 6-foot point guard, and he grew. So when you grow at the same time, all that at the same time, you probably gonna face injuries like that. So a lot of the times, most basketball players, they don't want to lift weights. So that's, they don't lift a lot of weights, and you don't see guys built like Kevin Willis no more, or what was my man's Alvin up there in Milwaukee, I forget his name, or the X-Men. You don't see people built like that no more. You don't see people built like Alonzo Mourning, Dwight Howard. You don't see those big, them strong, them real strong, players no more that's ripped up, and that physique is gone. You think Anthony Davis will get in the weight room to, protect those bones and ligaments so he could be more durable. But one thing I learned about being around basketball players, they hate lifting weights. That's probably a huge reason why most of them chose to hoop. Some of them chose to hoop versus some of them choosing to play basketball. They don't want to lift weights. You look at Jokic, he lost all that weight. Not no muscle on him. Joel Embiid, and lost all that weight, Ozempic or whatever he's alleged to be taking, no muscle on him. You could just look at yesterday's, look at guys like Wilt Chamberlain. These guys don't lift. LeVar spoke about it's all about resistant bands and a little bit of weight. I mean, you got to put some weight on there. How's your body gonna take the pounding of the wood on the floor, and the pounding of boxing out and rebounding, and You know, they always trying to reinvent the fitness wheel, especially with, with CrossFit. It's always something. It's literally always something. They always want to reinvent the fitness wheel. And you can tell these NBA players, they don't lift a lick. They don't lift no real weights. You don't get guys built like Ben Wallace no more. It's crazy. And they wonder why they stay injured. The number one thing is to lift. Real resistance training. It scave off Alzheimer's, dementia. You know what I'm saying? Scaves off all of that. So you see why a lot of these guys just stay injured. So Anthony Davis still seemed like he refused. They just refused to lift weights. I don't really understand it. No, lifting weights is fun. I don't understand why people look at it as, torture. It's actually pretty fun. You don't have to do nothing too crazy. Even some of the championship bodybuilders, they only lift for an hour. If that. So if they need to lift for an hour, like shit, probably the average NBA player, they always do a bunch of cardio. Shit, probably a 30, 40-minute lift period. But they don't want to lift. You know what I'm saying? That's why they stay injured. Anthony Davis, he looked the same as when he, came to LA, the same thing. So that's my concern. Like, you was a LeBron and you didn't make, no durability changes. You gotta ask yourself, what are they doing? Y'all just doing the little bands and it's clearly not working. Clearly not working. So, obviously I would understand why the Pistons wouldn't do it. He just can't stay healthy wherever he been at. Like, come on. Can't stay healthy. And that's just the trend. Victor Wembanyama can't stay healthy. They do all these little bear crawls and all these little light weights. Can't stay healthy. So crazy. But yeah, I doubt if the Pistons pull the trigger on that one. We'll see. And they're going to look at the bottom feeders. They talking about trading Ja. Trae Young can be right behind them. LaMelo can be right behind them. Sabonis talks about him getting moved. So, it's going to be some moves to be made. Down in New Orleans. Who knows what Joe Dumars is going to do. So, should be interesting. But, hey, check out Detroit Piston Talk playlist. Hit the link tree. First link in the description. Follow me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, the whole nine. Appreciate the love and support. Let me know what you girls and guys think in the comment section. Yeah, hit the link tree. Find me everywhere. Peace.